The Central Bank of Nigeria has increased the monetary policy rate by 200 basis points to 24.75% in a continued chase to tame inflationary pressures. According to the Monetary Policy Committee, MPC, to address Nigeria's food crisis, the authorities have to deal with the issue of food insecurity and implement federal government's agricultural intervention programs.
Speaking after the 296th meeting of the MPC yesterday in Abuja, CBN Governor Olayemi Cardozo said the committee also raised the cash reserve ration, CRR, to 100 plus to minus 300 basis. CBN also increased the interest rate by 400 basis points, taking the interest rate benchmark to 22.75% from 18.75%, a major tightening measure to tame Nigeria's high inflation, currently at 30.70%.
We believe that we are on the right course, and of course, one particular area of chair as a result of the actions we have taken is the moderation in the foreign exchange rate, which you have seen. Now, don't take the foreign exchange in isolation because it does have major pass-through to inflation. And to the extent that we've seen this happen and we expect it will continue to moderate, we are confident that these tools and measures that the central bank is using will ensure that, the inflationary spiral will gradually.
To better understand this, let's bring in Alesta Wilcox. He's an economist and the former chairman, ICAN Lagos and District Society. Good morning, Mr. Wilcox, and thank you very much for joining us.
Good morning for having me. It's always my pleasure. Thank you. I hope you can hear me clearly.
Yes, we can hear you clearly. All right. Please explain to us the impact of, this, the hike, the MPR hike on the FX rate and inflation. What does this mean in layman terms? It just sounds like a lot of economics. So can you please break it down, what it means and what this impact is on inflation and on foreign exchange?
Yeah. Unfortunately, because I'm not in the classroom, and I'll try as much as I can to break down the realities of the day. Now, in every economy, you have two kinds of policies, the monetary policy and the fiscal policy. Now, the monetary policy is what the CBN is always interested in, and it is in their purview to direct how, like you have money supply, interest rate, and all whatnot. They have the fiscal policy, which is mainly from the Ministry of Finance and other economic agencies that tries to intervene in one of them. Now, these two policies must have a formidable handshake for that to be a proper, for that to be an alignment so that it can achieve the objective. Monetary policy, such as this interest rate hike, is part of stabilization measures. When I mean stabilization, like when you find in an economy where inflation is outstripping, it's galloping, you try to use some of these tools to moderate so that there will be less money. And it is assumed that when there is less money in the economy and you discourage borrowing and then try to put your money more in investable funds, that consumption will drop and then inflation obviously will drop. That is the arithmetic. That is the Bretton Woods. That is the Ikoyi. I mean, I will use some terms we are using now. That is the Ikoyi economic theory. But over time, and I have said this repeatedly, over time in Nigeria, monetary policy hardly works, hardly achieves its objective because we are a very, very funny economy in terms of even both at the corporate level and at the informal level. I mean, both formal and informal sector. Now, the factors that affect consumption, that affect inflation, that affect money supply, have little or no bearance to the everyday economy. Yes, it's good to play by the books, but you must understand the reality of your environment. And there's somebody that correctly said that Wale Edu, the Minister of Finance, and the Cardoso and the Olayemi Cardoso, well-trained economists, very, very fast, very sound in their thinking and reasoning. But these are Ikoyi-trained economists operating in Onikman economy. Now, what is the difference? Out there, it is how the book says it. But down here, it is the rule of the jungle. And so, when I see CBN, and I've said this, like I said, I've said this over time, we must address the non-economic factors that affect our life. And unfortunately, policymakers are not addressing it. Because the truth of the matter is, we're in a grab economy. That's what I'm saying. It is like the Shomolu or the economy. We're in a grab economy. Economic factors do not determine economic policy, economic reason and policy. Now, the last one they did, the last MPRO meeting they did last month, created, instead of dampening or halting back inflation, created more inflation. I can give you the statistics. Prices of goods and services went up by almost 10 to 12% across sectors, across board, simply because of that policy. Now, Nigeria today, they will tell you everything they will target to dollar price.
But they'll tell you, Mr. Wilcox, in reaction to that, some would argue that it was just a momentary spike, that FX spiked to 1,800 and eventually found its level.
It's not like I'm saying, we're operating, and permit me to use those words, we're operating in a 5-year kind of economy where we have this dog situation. Now, for instance, and I quarrel with the government because anything that goes up in Nigeria does not come down. Rather, there will be new reasons for it to go up.
Yeah.
Now, even if it's going to come down, the magnitude of hike vis-a-vis the magnitude of fall is in fact very insignificant. Because you keep hearing other, and that's why I talked about the non-economic factors. And policymakers are not looking at it. Now, Cardoso and Edu operated well in Lagos because it's a microeconomy of the, in fact, it's a microeconomy of the macrocosm. Now they're operating at the bigger stage. And what works in Lagos when they were there in terms of, because they don't have access to, but they don't have a direct impact on monetary policies. So they're able to manage the domestic economy of Lagos and also prosperity of Lagos. That is quite different from what you find in the national state. And that's why I said they don't take into account those non-economic factors. Let me give you reasons. When in January and February the dollar was skyrocketing, what did you get in the market? Now compare the price index of January to the price index of March. Now, as at the middle of March, there was a policy intervention. There was the kind of intervention that the president have intervened, which I have cried out for ever since. They intervened, brought binance bring some sanity to binance, and today we saw the dollar was diving. After yesterday, we are at the official rate from 1,430 that the government was using to 1,200. Now, when that spike was going on, what was happening to price of goods and services? Every day skyrocketing, to the point that even domestically produced goods, agricultural products, and all whatnot, and when you have to say it is the dollar. So these are not economic factors, not economic factors that have to do with the economy. And that is why I say they are not taking into account those economic factors. And so when they allow certain things to go, when they allow certain things to happen, and then it becomes difficult to reverse, because they will not reverse it, because the Nigerian man, both at the corporate level, both at the formal and informal sector, is first and foremost an opportunist.
Yeah, all right. Mr. Wilcox.
Let me say this. So when there was interest rate hike, I went to Total. I campaigned for it. I was happy. I said this is the economic reason. In fact, I was campaigning and asking people to go and invest their money in treasury bills and all whatnot. Then how did the market react? The market reacts by price increase of goods and services. Things like let me not give any brand a free advert. Things like this table water, soft drink. You see the spike from what it was to what it was just within a space of 1 month. I mean, you consume, because everybody believes that with that policy they will tell you that borrowing cost has gone up, which is not supposed to be. Yes, it's supposed to go up, but the measure is termed to discourage certain things. But the Nigerian factor weighs in, and even the cost of table water, seaway water, and everything went up. The beverages, just you name it. And it is because they will tell you borrowing cost has gone up. The CBI has increased interest rates.
Yeah.
So these are the non-economic factors that do not make this. So that I said, when someone called, I said, I don't know why the central bank is not acting in fact, it's not getting the mood of the moment, because the truth of the matter is inflation is still on the rise. And if you take a miracle, I believe, I'm telling you, a miracle for there to be a nosedive of it. In every sphere, even Gary, if you take a miracle.
Yeah, Mr. Wilcox, in I think it was in May 2023, the former CBN governor, Godwin Emefiele, also did the same increase in interest rate. He increased it, I think, to 18.5%, May 2023. You know, of course, with the same aim of taming inflation. It didn't seem to work. Now we're talking about 24.75%. It feels like it's the same approach, you know, that is being taken here. Do they not just understand, you know, what you've, you know, explained now about the difference between their policies and what the reality is on ground? And also, how, in non-economic terms, in the most, you know, layman terms as possible, how does this affect SMEs across Nigeria?
Look, I have laid the foundation. Both SME and the whatever is the same market we're operating. Now, there are two things. There are those that generally need funds, need funds for businesses. Their costs will go up, certainly. And the ripple effect will be the fact that there's prices will certainly, those costs will certainly be passed on to the consumer. If it is in a sane economy, some costs can be absorbed. That is the truth of the matter. And when in the countries where these policies are used, we saw the resultant effect. Now, the UK has tamed the economy, the inflation back to about 4%. Through this policy, because it's a market that is driven by fair competition, that is driven by good buying decisions, by people understanding, that is everyday man understanding the effect of consumption and investment and abstinence. That is that kind of economy. So it works. I mean, from about 0.5% MRR, the UK now has about 5-point-something percent. So it might be the basis point. So in such times where there are sound economic principles and where the people and where competition is fair, where the people understand the dynamics between consumption and investment, yes, it could work in the long run. Now, you just mentioned it. Emefiele did it, and what did Emefiele do? After pumping about 23 trillion in his ill-conceived ways and means, I don't understand the rationale into the economy, over-inflation, over-liquidified the economy, and then he's now bringing in monetary interest rate policy to mop it up. How? When our consumption pattern does not flow that way. So for the SME, it's going to affect them because cost of funds will go up. Now, people are complaining that their warehouse is stocked with goods. How can your warehouse not be stocked with goods when every day you are passing even the cost of storage? You are not bringing down prices so that people can buy and clear your warehouse. You're stocking your warehouse with more goods. So why would it happen? Why would you have cloth? And then somebody say the company is leaving Nigeria? Because your pricing model is so astronomical. It's so way out. So you go to the market, like I said, the last month MPI, and I'm expecting a new price regime on goods and services with this announcement. Even if it does not come to effect, even if it does not borrow funds, even if they are not going to borrow new funds, they will tell you borrowing costs has gone up. They are not talking about the investment gain they are going to make. Because most people now put their money in investable funds, in TV, in other investable funds. They will not tell you the effect of that would be on the influence on their businesses. No, but they will look at the cost that they anticipated to do, and then they'll begin to change and moderate price. It does not work. So SMEs are in trouble because they will not be able to compete, and that's why you see today a lot of little businesses, even though in their own right too, they are not doing the right thing. But SMEs should be able to have a target market. SMEs should be able to know how to model their cost structure. There's too much wastages, even in the corporate world. There's too much wastages, and there's too much. There's too much profiteering tendencies. So even what you can absorb, a cost you can absorb, you want to pass it on to the consumer. and so that you can have a wider income level. I will call it, I will say it's business. I've been in the business world for too long to know some of these cost structures. People just want to kill the next man because we call it a free market. And government policies that is aimed to tame those tendencies do not work, because even the consumer is not a rational consumer. One should expect that by now certain goods should no longer enjoy the high level patronage. But for where? You find people, you find the clothes filled, you find the bags filled, you to capacity, and people tell you, after all, what we will do, we will eat now. And so because the Nigerian businesses knows this very well, they have mastered the people's behavior. Consumer behavior is very key in anything that you are doing. Consumer behavior. And if you don't have that kind of behavior, we go eat now. People will go eat. I mean, you see people, they say rice is 80,000 naira, and people are still throwing parties and closing the roads, and they will cook eight different kinds of rice, and for everybody, so that and when you ask the question, we go eat now, we will survive. Nothing happens, and because people know the consumer behavior, and so they can do anything just to scrap it from you, and then blame it on government. And government, good policy works in other economies, is only doing what aggravating. And until policymakers begin to understand those non-economic factors that drives our behavior, drives our market, of course, we'll just be roaming in the dark.
So what changes are you expecting to see? The next Monetary Policy Committee meeting is in May 2024. It's scheduled to happen in May. And what changes do you expect to see before then? And maybe as a result of the next meeting, do you think that they would then review the current policy and decide to do something different? Maybe they would have observed customer behavior, consumer behavior, like you said. Well, what changes are you expecting to see by the next meeting?
I'm not expecting any change, as a matter of fact. Since, like I said, it takes a miracle. Because the people that work in CBN, they are not, unfortunately, they are not interested from the society. And the policy is not just taken by the bank chiefs and the governor central bank and the deputy. So there are a lot of input from MBS, that's the National Bureau of Statistics, and that is one of the most irresponsible organizations in Nigeria, because they come up with outdated numbers. They come up with outdated numbers, and as such, policymakers are not being able, and like I said, the gamut of governance architecture cuts across from down to up. And so where is the information coming from? Statistical information coming from? It comes from the bureaucracy. So those that work in CBN, those that provide the data, the banks, unfortunately, the bourgeois are those ruling. Those who felt it doesn't affect them, nothing happens to them. They are insulated from the common man on the street. So I'm not expecting anything too different. But like I said, it will be a miracle. Let me pray and hope that I'm wrong. But I know that in the past I've not been wrong. Let me just hope and pray that I'm wrong, because I am eagerly worried as to how the common man underfits and how the common man gets by in this country.
It's even scary now. You know what's scary is how, I mean, like you've mentioned, what goes up doesn't come down. Now we're counting down towards the Easter celebration, and of course, the prices of goods and services will be hiked again, and maybe it wouldn't come down after that. It's quite scary.
Without any without any increase in fuel or transport has gone up, just because it is the first. So you can see the kind of so there must be some form of physical intervention. Now, government needs to have direct intervention with producers of goods and services. Now, of course, the CBN should look at a way of rolling back some of these MRO that they ill-advisedly looking us to, because, like I said, it works in good climate. It is a good economic policy.
Right.
It is part of the banking system. But in our country, it's like a dog eat dog. So there must be some government direct intervention with Manufacturing Association of Nigeria. They are one of the culprits. NASIMA, National Association of Chambers of Commerce. Look, when folks affect their members, they all rise up in arms against the government.
All right.
So when their members are the ones that are killing the people, they are all smiling and be happy. So there is intervention with them.
We need to go now. Yes, we need to go now. Thank you so much for highlighting these points and calling these organizations out. We can only hope for the best, and we look forward to seeing some positive change. Thank you very much for joining us, Mr. Wilcox.
Let's hope and work directly and get results. Thank you very much
Completely
for having
agree.
me.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Have a good day.